Republicans basically stand up and say, well, Congress hasn't restored these, so we're going to count the Republican votes. Democrats respond by saying, if you do, we will filibuster the outcome of everything Democrats do. Well, you will do nothing. We will filibuster everything. We will stop the government from functioning. And so what do Democratic leaders and Republican leaders do? They get together and they make a compromise. Because what do Republican leaders know about feelings in the North?
They can be hurt easily.
Over.
Never know till you try, right?
Republicans know that the feeling in the North is most people just want it to be over anyway, right? That there's really not much stomach for a fight in the North against the Democrats to protect who? Black people in the South. People are tired of it in the North. Democrats want what? What do Democrats want? What do they want? These 3 states to be declared and all federal troops removed from the South. They want what? They want the South turned back over to southern states and white southern Democrats. So what's the deal? What's the deal? What do Republicans say? If you give us the vote, well, the Reconstruction. It's done. We'll pull the troops out. You can have your way in the South. Yeah, a mistake that truly had already been made. I mean, it already happened in 7 of them. This just finishes the deal. So they make what's called the Compromise of 1877. I'll cut the lights out. Last time for about 60 or 70 years that you'll see any red on a southern state on an electoral map. But essentially what the Compromise of 1877 says is that Republicans will agree that to end Reconstruction, pull all the troops out, basically allow white Southern Democrats to take power in every state, in every county, in every part of the South, every sheriff, every judge. And in return, the Democrats agree to allow Hayes to be president. And Hayes follows through on his deal. First thing he does as president is pull the troops out. And any hope that Reconstruction would work ends with that.
What if you did?
Then they would filibuster everything. They would carry through on their threat. Democrats run above seceding from the Union. Filibuster was mild compared to that. Okay? And Hayes. And again, it's not really so much they forced it as Hayes is appealing to Republicans who want it to be over too. Thaddeus Stevens is, of course, out of the picture by this point. Most of the radicals are no longer in office. If they are, they're holding on barely. And this is the result. So after this, and you notice what's happened. The blue isn't blues Democrats. The blue is not just in the South, it's what? In the North. New York City has the most powerful Democratic Party called Tammany Hall. They control New York politics. Indiana has gone Democratic. So it's basically the power of the Democratic Party expanding in response to the end of Reconstruction. So let's talk about a few things here real quick, because I know the bell's going to catch us. I want you to think about it this way. I'm just going to kind of lead you through it. I was going to make you answer all the questions, and it'll take a while, so I'll just do it with you, okay? During Reconstruction, we have the 13th Amendment, the 14th Amendment, the 15th Amendment, and federal protection, federal power to protect people's rights. When Reconstruction is over, you don't have slavery anymore, but there is sharecropping. The 14th Amendment is officially law, but all southern states pass Jim Crow laws. Officially, black men can vote, but there are literacy tests and poll taxes. And the power that the federal government had used to ensure all of these things is replaced by what? Which means the allowance of the KKK to operate unimpeded. Nobody's going to stop the KKK, right? Law enforcement will be part of it in most places in the South. The sheriff will be a leader in the KKK in most places. There's going to be no enforcement to stop anything the KKK does. And it basically means no protection or enforcement of civil rights. And the saddest part about it is, how do you explain why it happened? Why was this allowed to happen? Because white people lost interest. Because white people in the North decided it didn't matter enough. Okay? Now, the explanation for this The last slide we're gonna look at, I got one more. The historiography of this is also important, because I want you to think about something. History is what? The study of history is explaining how and why something happened. How do you think white people, white historians predominantly, started explaining this in the 1890s, the 1900s, the 1910s? How do you explain how this happened if you're among the white population who let it happen?
How we
I
try
don't
to
know.
justify
What does your
it.
you justify it? How do you justify it?
God,
Black people put themselves in this position because they expected what? Too much, too soon. Right? Who else made this happen? Who in Congress caused this to happen? Radical Republicans, by trying to what? Give the federal government too much power and punish southern states who didn't even deserve it. Right? Southern states didn't deserve to be punished, and they tried to punish southern states. And what do you expect people to do? People get mad when they're punished. Right? So what this turns into, I'm going to show you this real quick, is a historiography. Don't pack up. I know what time it is. Y'all stay with me. I don't do this every day. I'm not really sort of kind of So what we end up with, just look at this. I think it'll make sense. And you have the last part of this. You have the reading from the quiz yesterday that I gave you on the back of that letter.
Please excuse this interruption. This is just a reminder that we are taking the senior group picture today at 2 o'clock. All seniors will exit by the art rooms and go directly to the football field. Students will be returning to fourth period after the picture is taken. Again, I want all students to please exit by the art rooms to go directly to the football
I'm going to
field
post this.
at
This
2
is like
o'clock, the
everything we've
beginning
done in
of fourth
period
period.
5. I'm going to put it on the website. Okay? You guys will, I know, just stop and listen to me real quick. So these historians basically say Reconstruction's a failure because the radicals shouldn't have tried to punish the South and black people shouldn't have expected so much. It's all their fault. The people who tried to fix things, it's their fault it didn't work. Very bizarre. 50s and 60s, you get a refocus. Black historians especially and white historians saying, wait a minute, black Reconstruction worked. They built schools. They rebuilt roads. They fixed the South. We're trying to until white people stopped caring enough to even look at it. And radicals did good things and were humanitarianly motivated, like carpetbaggers trying to help people in the South. And the 14th and 15th Amendment protecting people's rights. And the current historiography, the reading you had on your quiz.
This also includes 11Gs. Seniors and 11Gs are all going for the group picture.
And 80s, Eric Foner, right? The reading that you guys had on the quiz yesterday is basically saying it failed, but it had some good things for the future. Make sure you look at the Foner thing. I'm going to post this so you guys will be able to go through the whole presentation while you're studying if you want to. It's mostly pictures and words. I'm not sure how much it'll help, but